you don't want a realistic life. People who get into real estate investing are not living a realistic life. People who get into remote high ticket sales are not looking for a realistic life, right? So I want you to now aim for a life where other people look at you and say, nah, it's too good to be true. Brendan, my man, how are you?
JD, I'm doing well, man. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome
Hey, good man.
to
Yes.
Undeniable Sales 101. Kind of a new concept for me, but I just want to be clear in my intentions. My hope in doing these coaching sessions, I'm getting old. I've been in this industry for a while, and
Yeah,
I really have a sense of purpose to kind of expand beyond our mentorship program as far as my positive impact. And so I kind of have a few intentions. One, I want to showcase the positive impact of having personalized advice. I feel like that's lacking in the industry as far as like it's all cookie cutter approach. But I also want to have an impact on more people than I can manage in our mentorship program because of its one-on-one capacity. And then
yeah,
lastly, I hope to be able to reach people outside and hopefully inspire or help them, especially if they're experiencing similar challenges that you're facing.
for sure. Absolutely.
Beautiful. I
I
love it.
respect that for sure.
So I guess how this will work, you'll share one main challenge, situation, topic, goal, and I'll spend about 15 minutes unloading as much valuable and personalized advice and guidance as I can. How's that sound?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be good for me.
All right. So what's the topic of the day? What can I help with?
So I think a lot of it is just as I enter into the new phase of what I've been through from an entrepreneurial standpoint for the last, well, decade plus, is kind of the fork in the road is what to do and how to go about that. And you've kind of paved a new path for me that I never thought possible. It was through transparency and honesty, and honestly, the overall willingness to help.
Hmm.
So the question that I have and the nervousness, I guess, from my side is just making that jump because I'm not traditionally from an entrepreneurial side. I'm not traditionally online. It's more with physical assets and real estate investment
Right.
and construction. So it's just kind of that transition phase of making the, well, I guess jumping off the cliff with 2 feet and head down kind of thing. So it's understanding the challenges that you've experienced and same with the cohort that you've developed and that transition from a traditional, not necessarily avenue, but into the remote sales, which is fairly new to me in terms
I
of that
love it.
concept.
I love it because this is the experience we all go through. It's the void, I call it, right? It's like
Yes. Yeah.
that idea of like, hey, the old way is not working, but I don't have much confidence in the new way yet. And so it's this
Yeah.
kind of blank entering the void is the most difficult part. So a couple things. The first thing to realize, you've already jumped off the cliff, right? So we
Yeah.
tend to think that once I get the job or once I hit a certain milestone, that's when I've started. You've already started, right? So it's like now I'm already taken step one, right? So I find personally thinking about that is like I've already taken the leap, right? It's maybe I haven't committed, maybe I haven't done this, maybe I haven't taken the steps necessary, but I've already taken step one. And I find it seems small, but understanding for me, it's much easier to take from step one to step two than 0 to 1. 0 to 1 is the hardest thing, right? So
Mhm.
you're already in, you've been in the community, you've explored, you have, I think, a good understanding, right? It's now
Yeah.
about putting it together in a strategy, right? Now, the nerves aren't going away, right? The nerves are going to be there at each step. And we think that we need to be ready. And that usually translates to some feeling. You're not going to feel ready. You're not going to feel ready for the interview. You're not going to feel ready for the first call. You're not going to feel ready for the
Fair.
second call. That's going everywhere. I just had a call and I mentioned this, and I think it's really important is that fear is a great passenger. It's a horrible driver. And I anticipate that it's been doing some of the driving and some of the passenger. Is that fair to say?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So let's let's roll reverse for a second. You said it was real estate investing. That was kind of your background.
Yeah, so I had my own company for 12 years.
Okay.
in Calgary, which is in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
So did that with 12, which I, yeah, you've worked out here, haven't you?
Right. Yeah.
Back in the day. But yeah, so I did that for 12 years and kind of came to, we muscled through and paddled through COVID, and that was a journey and a half. But kind of at the end of the day, I was kind of at this point of wanting to try different avenues. And how I got into the remote sales side of things was more through different other companies that are out there, but it just seemed too good to be true.
Yeah.
And your honesty and transparency there. But to kind of circle back, yes, it was more physical assets and
Okay.
working at them, fixing them, and then selling them.
Okay. So if I told you, like we switched spots and I told you, hey, I'm actually giving up UCM and I'm thinking about going into real estate investing, but I'm feeling a lot of fear. I'm concerned, right? Whether or not you feel like it's the right move for me, would you be able to give me advice on how to deal with that fear?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Right. Why?
I'd
Because
never
it's
thought of it in
familiar,
that sense. Yeah.
right? So you've experienced many successes in your life, right?
Mhm.
Maybe not to what we want. I haven't experienced the ones that I want, right? We downplay it,
Yeah.
but you've been successful in many things in your life, right?
Yes.
There's still a long ways to go. There's still that burden of potential that we all feel. But
Mhm.
at one time, you were a baby. You could barely hold your head up. You were totally dependent. Everything that you are today, you've developed, right? From the
Yeah.
way you communicate, right? And so this industry is unknown. And that can breed a lot of nervousness. What if I fail? What if I make a mistake? What if I do this? What if I do that? I'm guessing, I don't know you, but I'm going to guess that you've made a few mistakes in the past, right?
Oh, 100%.
I've made a few
Absolutely.
myself, right?
Yeah.
You've fallen. There's probably been a time, if we really looked at it, where there was a holy shit moment where it's like, I don't know if I'll ever recover from this. Fair?
Oh, 100% more than I'd like to admit. Yeah.
Right. So, and you're on this call
Yes, sir.
and
Yeah.
you have a bright future ahead, right? And so
Mhm.
those times are really important in that you don't know this per se, and you don't know how it's going to happen. And I don't know how it's going to happen. I can tell you everything's going to be roses. It might not be, right?
Yeah.
But we know that the most dangerous thing, when you look at the unknown, it seems like the most dangerous thing. But you and I both know that no pursuit is the most dangerous thing you can do. That stagnation
100%.
of not trying something because you're here now, even though it didn't, the light at the end of the gold at the end of the rainbow, right? You're at the next chapter. You're exactly where
Yeah.
you're supposed to be. No matter all that adversity, all those failures, all the mistakes, and you're going to make more mistakes. You're going to fall short from time to time, but the
Mhm.
most dangerous spot is not progressing, right? The most
Not
dangerous
progressing.
spot is
Yeah.
knowing that you're not where you need to be and staying there. That's where all the danger is, right? So, what we have to do is, yes, we don't know these things and we can explore it. Luckily, like what I always tell UCM students is you can leverage my certainty until you have your own, right? But the beautiful thing about confidence and certainty, it doesn't matter where it comes from. So if I go on an interview, I can't be confident I'm going to get the job. That's false confidence, right? I can be
Yeah.
delusional and think I'm going to get every job, but I don't know the outcome. When I get on a sales call, I don't know the outcome.
Mhm.
So I can't be confident in the outcome. What can I be confident in? Well, I'm confident in my integrity. I'm confident in my ability to learn and improve. If I fall flat on my face, I've picked myself up so many times, I can't even keep track. Sounds like you've been through similar experiences. So I know
Yeah.
that I have the bounce back. I know that I can survive. I've shown that I'm a survivor, right? I have confidence in my communication. I have confidence in my work ethic. I have confidence in my characteristics. So I'm leveraging those confidence in this situation and I'm exploring the unknown with question marks, right? Because
Mhm.
I can look at it as uncertainty, or uncertainty causes a lot of problems, or I can look at it as variety, new challenge, new adventure, new opportunity. It's the same thing, but a different lens, right? And
Yes.
so right now, it's about first things first. What can I do today that was better than yesterday? Can I increase my visibility? I mean, being on this call already is a positive impact, right? Putting your
Mhm.
hand up and saying, hey, I need some help here. That's a
That
positive
was a
and
big step for me.
huge
Absolutely.
step,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Especially for someone that's had business success. And usually a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to figure it all out themselves because that's what they've had to do, right?
Yes.
So releasing that and saying, hey, you could pioneer this industry. You could come in, you could go through the same trial and errors that I went in, step in the same shit, and I believe that you would be successful. But you don't have to. There's
Mhm.
people who have already stepped in the shit and will point it out to you. There's people that are sharing their experiences. So the biggest thing for me is not trying to find the answers that you don't have. That just creates a void, right? For me, it's about understanding where's the opportunity here. The opportunity is informing the questions, right? We try and jump to
Yeah.
the answers, but it's okay, I don't know. And that's causing me fear. What don't I know? Well, I don't know how this works. I don't know how to vet an offer. I don't know how to reach out to businesses. I don't know if this is good or that's good. I don't know this. And I
Yeah.
just start unloading questions. All of a sudden, that starts giving me like, okay, now let's pick 2 or 3 questions and let's answer that today. Let's see if we can get some insights, right? And then tomorrow, 2 or 3 answers. And the next day, 2 or 3 answers. There's no punishment for not knowing. There's punishment for not pursuing the answer, right? Like you can't, it'd be like if you mentioned a certain movie and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen the movie. And then you started talking to me about it and asking me questions. I'm like, I haven't seen it. You haven't seen this movie yet, right?
Yeah.
So
Huh.
now is your time to discover and explore. And what that's going to do is if instead of you putting the pressure on yourself to perform and get a job and do all these things, all these results, if you just took a little bit of time and said, all I'm trying to do is explore some of the blind spots and gather information, what's going to happen is you're going to start to build confidence. And then as you start getting more information, now you start turning those into action steps and you take small actions, 1 step at a time, right?
Yeah.
And you say, today, I'm going to be a little bit more visible than yesterday. Today, I'm going to talk to one more person than yesterday. And I don't care about the result. I'm not going to reach out thinking I'm going to land a job. I'm not going to go to I'm just going to explore and discover and uncover what the next step are. And in truth, like 1 step at a time is not that scary. But trying to think what you're going to do today that's going to result in 10K a month and that's too much. That's too much pressure, right? It'd be like imagine day one real estate investing. It's like, okay, I need you to know how to make $1 million in real estate investing day one go. It's like, no, you uncovered. Probably you're by the time you ended it, you were a lot better off than when you started, right? You had the
Oh,
same
yeah.
spots, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. You're taking all that experience, all that wisdom, all that life experience. You're learning from that, so you're not making the same mistakes. But you have to give yourself a chance to learn this new industry, or else it's always going to be unknown, right? So, what I would say is transition from what are the results, where are the airs to like let's go explore and find out what this industry is all about, who's doing well, what mistakes, right? Like for me, OPM and OPW are the best resources. Other people's wisdom, other people's mistakes, right? Because
Other people.
I always say like
Yeah.
wisdom comes from experience and experience comes from fucking up. And the only reason that I'm on this side of the call and you're on that side is I've fucked up more. And I've
Yeah.
turned those fuck ups into experiences and I've turned those
Yeah.
experiences into wisdom. Right. So don't be afraid to fuck up. You're going to. You embrace it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
That's it.
No, I appreciate that, and I think there's one thing that I certainly admire about the UCM program and you as an individual is that you create a transparency of success and the hardships and the first rabbit hole I guess I went into. I got pulling into all the success. I was like, wow, that's what you can do and that's what you're doing. That's a lot easier than what I'm doing. And it was kind of there, but I was like, but it's almost too good to be true. And breaking down the barriers in a simplistic manner really clicks for me because with any success there is no such thing as no failures, and
Right.
it's one of those things that I think that you've encompassed in terms of your messaging is brilliant, and I appreciate it because it's given me a lot more different perspective that there's different things out there that I want to pursue. So
That's beautiful,
I
man.
tip my
That's
hat.
beautiful. And I think it's really important to challenge that. You've mentioned it a couple times, it's too good to be true. That's something like you didn't create it, I didn't create it. That's been said for a long time. And it's been
Mhm.
said from people that got their hopes up and fell short.
Yeah,
Now, for me, I rather be on the optimistic side. It's if we really challenge it, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like imagine
yeah,
a five-star Michelin restaurant. We look and we don't go because that's too good to be true. It can't be that good. It can't be five-star, right? We miss out the meal of a lifetime,
Hmm.
right? It's like you meet someone that you fall for, and oh, they're too good of a person. They're too amazing, right? It's too good to be true, and I don't go on a second date, right? Like
yeah,
that's our defense system from getting our hopes up and falling short. But
yeah,
again, if you've experienced it before, you're here, you're in a good position, right? You've experienced falling short. The problem is most people adjust their standard so they stop falling short instead of building a relationship with falling short. And that's why people set very realistic goals when you're, this is kind of a sales training aspect, but when someone gives you a big range, like let's say I'm selling fitness and they're like, I want to lose 5 to 15 pounds in 3 to 6 months. What that tells me instantly is that person has failed before and they're giving buffers because if I ask them, hey, do you want to lose 5 or 15 pounds? They'll say 15. And I say, do you want to lose it in 3 months or 6 months? They'll say 3 months. So what's that other stuff? That's a buffer because they fell short and they didn't really experience what that is, right? Instead of adjusting and learning and taking the experiences and the wisdom from it and aiming high again and building that relationship with falling short, what they've done is kind of lowered that of like, well, it can't be true, or I want to give myself, or I just want to be realistic, or I just want all these things. Like I don't believe we should be setting realistic goals. I think we should be setting inspiring goals and building that relationship with falling short because I would rather be inspired and fall short than be living that realistic life. And probably looking at what journeys you've taken, you don't want a realistic life. People who get
no,
into real estate investing are not living a realistic life. People who get into remote high ticket sales are not looking for a realistic life, right? So I want you to now aim for a life where other people look at you and say, nah, it's too good to be true. That's the goal, right?
yeah.
I want us to
That's a damn good
reconnect
goal.
in 6 months or a year. And I want other people to criticize and be skeptical about your journey because they look at you and they say, nah, it's too good to be true. That's the goal. That's the new vision.
I love it. I'm writing that one down.
Beautiful, my man. Now you're in a
Yeah,
perfect place. Give yourself some grace to one, it's kind of these two, the last thing I'll leave you with, and it's kind of a mind fuck in a way that like you have to be patient and impatient at the same time. So you have to be patient with your ability to learn this industry, to get certain results, to hit certain milestones. You have to be impatient with progress. So every day I'm taking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps, but I'm not expecting. Today I'm going to go to the gym, but I'm not expecting to come out with a six pack, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
I know if I keep going, I'm patient with the six pack. I'm patient with my dream body, but I'm impatient and intolerant to a lack of progress. And I think that's what you have to make the focal point because progress is achievable on a daily basis and it doesn't feel, there's not as much fear. If I said, hey, all you have to do today is a little bit better than yesterday, no problem. If I said, hey, you got to go out and find a six-figure job today, all of a sudden the mind just starts wandering, right?
yeah.
So give yourself those accessible steps of a new industry, right? But be intolerant with a lack of progress.
Hmm. Phenomenal. I love it.
Beautiful.
It's just it's clarity. It's kind of like for some reason, I don't know if this is offside, but it's kind of like the comedic brilliance of explaining jokes that everyone gets because it's simple and you have the ability to do that on the sales process and the mind the mental barriers that individuals create for themselves in this space. So
I
you
appreciate
certainly
it, man.
can dig some lakes. That's good. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I hope you got some value out of this call, and I can't wait to see the progress.
100%. I appreciate it, JD. Appreciate the
Awesome.
time and the wisdom.
Anytime. Let me know if you need
Cheers.
anything else. Take care, Brendan.
Absolutely. I will.
Bye now.
You too.
All right, that's it. I want to thank you for watching today, and I hope you received some value from this training session. Make sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell icon to be notified when we release the next training session. If you would like to be featured on a future training session, make sure to join our remote sales community on Facebook. I'll leave a link in the description. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover on a future training session, just leave a comment below. Appreciate you. Onwards and upwards.